And I am an alcoholic and an addict in recovery. I'm just going to do this kind of quick. I don't have no sad story about my childhood. This is all on me. And now I can pass this on because it's all about him, my life.
Amen.
Amen.
And I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, a long time ago. Raised up in California. In about 7 years, I moved to Colorado down in the Four Corner area. I've had drug and drinking problems all my life. My family, they didn't use or they didn't drink, but I did. It's, to me, not genetic. I liked it. That was the way, but that's just the way I roll. I had a good childhood. My dad left me when I was real young, but that's no crutch either, because I had a real strong mom, and she was a rock. And she did teach me wrong from right. Well, it was up to me of how I was going to do that, and I did it all wrong. I graduated high school. I don't know how, but I did. I went in the service. I went in the Navy. I got out in 1980. And from there, I was learning how to be a mechanic. I've always been pretty mechanically inclined. Hard to keep lawnmowers and stuff in the house. I'd be out there tinkering with them, trying to make them go faster. I had a pretty sexual career in mechanical. I've been doing it over 32 years. You know, along with it, my first drug of choice was crystal meth. I had a real bad problem with that. I had that problem for about 4 years. Decided that I was just about dead, so my family flew me up to Des Moines, Iowa, and I went into drug treatment there at Mercy Hospital treatment. Did pretty well. Went into a halfway house in California, in Newport Beach, and I stayed there for about 1.5 years. Right after that, I got married to my wife, Allison. We were together quite some time. She met me right when I got out of the Navy. I was a young buck. and that marriage lasted about 6 years, and I don't know why I did that, but I won't do that again. The whole end of this deal, and when it really did start, and this late phase in my life is when I moved to Cortez. I did really well, got a good job. It was a small little town. You know, I'm from California, and you know, I just started fitting in like a glove there. I lived in Mancos, Colorado, and you know, the neighbors could rely on me, and you know, it just fit me really well. I drank beer, but you know, pretty moderately. I worked full time, and had a little house there, and just me and my 2 cats. And well, lo and behold, my mom got cancer and passed about 6 years ago. And that kind of was, that was really tough for me. That was really tough. My drinking increased. I wound up running into a little bit of money. And back in California, I drag raced a lot. And before that, I ran dirt bikes in the desert. And I've always been willing to really like things that go fast, and I still do. So my drinking got worse. I really started drinking a lot. And instead of taking that money that I inherited, you know, to buy a home and do the right thing, I went right back into my using phase, and I just always liked getting high, always liked getting drunk, and I do think I've always been fairly talented when it comes to cars and boats and bikes and things of that nature. And one day I purchased this old boat, and I took this thing to a level that I still today can't believe I took it to. It was something else. And it was the biggest mistake in my life. And I used my inheritance to build that thing. And it was just pure selfishness. I still couldn't beat myself up with that. You know, I remember where I took that thing. I first put it was the first boat in Cortez Auto Show down in Cortez, and it took first place in special interest and got a little trophy from it and stuff, and that just was another really tough part of my ego. Everywhere I took that thing, I couldn't get gas and people would be crowding around, and I just built the monster. But the monster of that was, all that was about was me. You know, I done some things that aren't good in my life. I pretty much hooked up with married women and dragged them from their homes to come live with me, and I just didn't care. I really didn't care. The only thing I cared about was Rick. And, you know, even those people I hung around got to a point where they couldn't handle me anymore. I had a little ranch out in Cortez, and 2 different girls that were both married came out there, and I didn't care. You know, if their husband had a problem with it, I would be more than happy to talk to them. And you know, that's just the really beginning of some bad things. I drank an awful lot of whiskey every day. I got to a point where I got a boating under the influence on top of all kinds of other things that I've had to work out since I've been sober. I had the sheriff's at my house more times than not. Yeah, I was putting down a pretty good sized bottle of whiskey and a lot of beer every night, and it got to a point where I couldn't get off my couch to go to work no longer. I just had a rotating and revolving box of liquor. So why get up off the couch? Might as well just go ahead and die. I would felt like I would have been better off. But you know, I think I kind of went through that time, and I think all of us addicts and alcoholics get to a point where we want to blame somebody else or something happened in our life that made us that way. Well, when I went to inpatient treatment at PVH, I learned that, you know what, the problem is the guy looking back in that mirror. That's the problem. And that's where it got to start. I finally had, I don't know what it was, but I hardly remember it, that I called the sheriff's department because they were the last ones in my town that had anything to do with me. And I called them, I told them, I need help, I'm down there dead. And I don't know what to do. And I just figured they were going to throw me in jail, and at least I wouldn't drink. But I had a Sergeant Russell show up there, and I guess he just seen the condition I was in, and I had that hand out for help. And he got me into a detox for a couple days up in Durango. And I know he worked behind the scenes with that, I think it was the Four Corners or something, rehab or detox center or something like that. I barely remember it. And they found me a place in PBH, but I had to pack up everything I owned, put it in storage, and head out to Denver. I said, you know, at that point, I had just a tiny clarity going on because I was able to stop drinking for a couple of days. And that next morning, I got in my truck and I drove. And I don't really remember the trip. So it wasn't me driving. And I wound up finding my way to PBH. And kind of went in there, not such a good guy. I was kicking and screaming and everything else, but I knew inside that this was my one and only chance. What was I going to do? It was time to brush myself off, stand up, and be a man, and try and figure this thing out. Because I had absolutely, that was it. That was it for me. So I got down there. Took me a couple of weeks, and I decided that, you know, I was going to quit listening to myself and listen to the folks that knew what they were talking about. And it's the first time I ever done that. And, you know, it was the best thing I ever did for myself. I did listen to what they said. I did take the tools that they gave me. And, you know, those tools were just to start out and start to learn how to deal with this alcohol and drug problem. And one evening, Tom came down and was introducing Step 7 to me, and I don't know, I was just glued to that. And so Cindy also kind of helped me along with that, and I appreciate that. And I went to my first meeting, and I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I really didn't like Pastor Tom. I said, oh man, this guy's like another Benny Hanna waiting for $39 and he'll get you sober real quick. I said, no, that guy's kind of tricky for me. I think I'll back out of this. But I gave it a chance. I believe it was Cindy, my other counselor, that said, give it a chance. You know, see what happens. The worst that can happen is you don't have to go anymore. But I kept on going. And I found out Pastor Tom wasn't like that. The guys that are involved with it weren't like that. It was something that was straight up. It was something I can understand. You know, as time went by, I got my first year of sobriety, and I decided to get baptized. Pastor Tom baptized me over a year ago. And, you know, I lost the desire to drink and use drugs. And, you know, how does that happen to old gutter drunk by me? But it happened. And you know, that road's an awful hard road to do. A lot of people in here are doing it. I know one thing for sure, I couldn't do it without him. Amen. You know, what he did for us on the cross. And once I could finally figure that out, and I could feel that in my heart was so stone cold, I wouldn't let nothing or nobody in. I trusted no one. I wouldn't give anybody any benefit of the doubt. You know, I soon just take you off, take you out, or can get in the way. It's not like that today. I just passed 2 years of sobriety, and you know, I don't need a big fancy boat no more. I don't need a great big truck and working for a huge company to be number one. Yeah, he's my number one. As long as I follow him, you know, I can't go wrong. And this is just proven, you know, to me, I was one of the worst of the worst. It's just proven to me that, you know, this spell of drinking and drugs can be broken. It can. I'm a testimony to that. You know, I still can't believe I sit here with 2 years of sobriety. But I had to work for that. I had to, you know, I'm a big person in AA. I'm a big person in the programs. I mix my spiritual with my AA programs. I grabbed everything I could possibly get a hold of because I needed everything. I couldn't have a part of this and a part of that. I had to have all of it to get where I'm at today. And I truly believe I've earned this spot.
Yes, you have.
I live at Step 7 House. I'm proud of that. I continue to live there. The guys that are in this house with me, Reggie especially, he's a rock. I lean on him a lot. We all lean against each other. And, you know, our lives have changed. What Step 7 has done for so many guys, I mean, we're not dead. My new job, I walked in on a drug overdose, and the lady is dead. I'm fairly new in sobriety. And what I seen there was Rick lying there. This is about a 35-year-old woman. And I looked down, so it was a drug overdose. Oxycontin. So, great. I had to feel her pulse. She's done. She ain't coming back. You know? I just don't ever want to be the person laying there and have somebody come up and tell my family and my congregation, Rick died. He didn't make it. That's not going to happen. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.